Hi, welcome back. Now then, natural metal finish. I hear that term bandied around quite a lot. Most people do it with paint. Now then, you can get some pretty good results with paint these days. There's lots of very sophisticated products out there that do this. And I think you should still use it as well. But this is an alternative way of doing it. This is a Revel Mustang, 32nd scale Mustang. It's not the best kit, but it's not a bad kit either. Quite liked it, quite fun to build. But I bought it purely to experiment with my adventure with natural metal finish using foil. Now, me and my father did this, probably, I'm trying to think how far back it goes. We've been doing this technique, or I was introduced to this technique probably 45 years ago. Just using kitchen foil, nothing fancy. Good quality kitchen foil. The thin stuff's not much good, it tears too easily. But back in those days, I used to stick it on by using polyurethane varnish on both on the model and then on the actual foil, and use it as like a contact to these. My dad built, I remember he built an Airfix 1/24 scale Mustang. Horrendous kit when you look at them now, they're horrible, but he made a really good, nice job of it. At least at the time I thought it looked really good. So yeah, I've got a kind of a soft spot for Mustangs. I think they're just beautiful aeroplanes. So yeah, this is a Revel one, quite a cheap kit, really cheap. The Tamiya one is in a different world, of course. But I did it just as a bit of an experiment. I have done another couple of kits actually in foil. Namely, I did a 1/24 scale Airfix Spitfire in foil. I did the Gertie, which is Gertie's G-IRT. It's a civilian Spitfire that's all metal, bar a bit of there's a bit of a black part on here. Go look it up on the internet. And then there's a little graphic on the side of the fuselage, and then there's the registration numbers underneath the wing, and that's it. It's all silver. Including the spinner, and we'll talk about spinners later. So I really like doing this, but it's incredibly time consuming, and I'm still perfecting the technique, and it does have its limitations, but if you get it right, it can look fantastic. It really can. And it has a lot of advantages, and it also has disadvantages to it. So anyway, this is an example. This is a Mustang, and obviously I don't know if you know Mustangs very well, but not Mustangs. Certainly the wartime ones, early on wartime ones, they weren't all metal. They were all metal, but they weren't all exposed metal. The fuselages usually were. Now if you can see, I've got a reflection. You can see it's quite a shiny surface. And the fuselage is all, I'll just give it a quick polish actually. The fuselage was all bare metal, generally speaking. I mean, if you see some now on the circuit, they're just painted silver. They're not bare metal, but some are. But the wings were putted and they were sanded, and then they were just sprayed silver. So that's why these wings, this is just a different colour silver. I was experimenting. I'm not completely satisfied with the finish on this model. It's okay, but it's a work in progress, and it was a test bed. The wings don't necessarily fit very well at the roots and things like that. And if I was doing it again, I wouldn't build a Revel one. I'd build a Tamiya one, and I'd do it. I wouldn't get this version either. I'd get the later one with a different strake on the tail, because the opportunities for different markings are better. But anyway, so this whole fuselage has been foiled, and it took me ages, but I quite like it, and it kind of scratched the itch for me to try it. I foiled all this bit as well, all the tail underneath here, etc. That's foil. Some people say, "Oh, why don't you just paint it? It looks alright painted." Yeah, knock yourself out, paint it then. But I like to do the foil because you don't get anything that looks more realistic than foil if you do it right. Now, I'm not saying this is perfect, but I think it's getting there. The smaller the scale, the more difficult it becomes, because you can lose detail, and I just think everything smaller than 30 seconds just comes near impossible for me. I find them too small. So I won't do anything smaller, but unless you're going to a big aeroplane, maybe like a B-17 or something, or a Super Fortress, or even maybe an Airfix Lightning that do well in this finish, and I've considered that. having a go at a Lightning, because again, the Lightning is a fantastic airplane. English electric Lightning I'm talking about, not the P38 Lightning. Again, P38 Lightning in 32nd scale would lend itself well to this treatment. Now I'm going to put up some pictures of when I first built the Spitfire kit, the 124 scale Airfix Spitfire. I went all in with that, and I ended up foiling that, and I did the Gertie, and it went quite well actually, and I quite enjoyed doing it. But there was a problem with it that always bugged me. Now, if you look at this kit, the plastic on this is smooth. It lends itself better to foiling. Now I've got a Spitfire wing here that I'm currently building, obviously. Now, if you look, I mentioned it on the review video I did for this. The plastic isn't smooth. I don't know what they've done with it. It's as I say, it's almost like it's been Artex or Pebble Dash or something. It's not a smooth surface. Now, when you put a file onto plastic, it doesn't matter what's there, it'll show. And it showed the texture through of this. I mean, it's a very fine texture, but it's still there. So I could never get the polish on the surface of the aeroplane like it is on the Gertie one, if you like. So it always had this, like, I don't know, it had this like texture to it, and it really bugged me, and it spoiled the model for me. So I want to show how to do the natural metal finish with foil, because I think whenever I've posted pictures on Facebook or wherever, people have said, how do you do that? Can you show me how to do it? And it's not a simple thing to just show in 5 minutes. It will take a few videos, I think, to kind of first off show the basics of how to do it, and then there's the more complicated stuff for doing compound curves, because compound curves is a nightmare. Well, it isn't a nightmare, it's just there's a technique to it that I'm still developing, and you've got to almost stretch it around surfaces really carefully, and there's certain tools and techniques for doing this, and definitely there's certain adhesives and things for doing this. But if it's done right, I think it's well worth a consideration on certain models. It doesn't lend itself to all models. The restrictions I've found with it are paint. When you paint anything on top of the foil, it's alright, it bonds fine and decals stick to it great, there's like any other surface. But when you paint it, I'll show you on the Mustang. When you paint it, it's great for weathering, by the way, because you can bring out. There was no detail on this top of this fuselage at all. Well, there was some originally, but I've sanded most of it out to get rid of the seam lines and stuff. And I've added in the rivet detail with the foil, because when you would put a rivet tool down that, or scratch any lines or anything, or overlap the foil to create a line, and then you take the paint off, it comes through like a real aeroplane. It's fantastic stuff. I mean, that little that circle there, which is covered, it's a vent of some sort. I think it's a fuel filler cap or something. That's just a circle. Sorry, the flaps are held on with magnets. That's just a circular foil on top of the other foil. So you can put foil on foil if you like, and create layers of it as well. But you can scratch the paint off, and it exposes the detail underneath. For weathered aircraft, it works fantastic. Just like you could spray it silver and then scratch the paint off and stuff. But when you paint it, depending on what sort of paint you use, I'll do it with this, I don't bother, it scratches off really, really easily. So you've got to be mindful. It doesn't on the gloss one though. I don't think the gloss is as bad as the spinner comes off. I think it comes off, maybe not. It's alright on the gloss paint. That's okay. I've lacquered that, and that's much more durable. So for doing decals and things like that, you could probably get away with it. But you've got to be careful with masking, because if you've painted this sort of stuff and you put a masking tape on that, and it could lift it. So it's all doable, but you've got to treat it really carefully. However, but it's very tough when it's on the plane. You know, you can handle this forever, and it doesn't do it any harm. And it tarnishes like real metal, because it is. So you can polish it up, and if you leave it for a few weeks and stuff, it'll go dull again. Well, it won't go dull, but it'll go like aluminium does. So it does emulate the real aircraft really well, and you can sand it, polish it, all sorts of things. I polish it up with this stuff, Cape Cod polishing cloths, and it does come up really nice. So yeah, I'm not. Basically, this video is about, hey, I'm going to do some videos on how to do this if anybody's interested. And secondly, I'm not sure which model to do it on. I'm really considering. I don't want to do another Gertie because I think I mentioned in the video before, I didn't like the look of it really. It looked a bit. The real one looks alright, I suppose, but I find the graphics on it a little bit dull. And the amount of work involved in it, because Gertie doesn't have any guns or gun ports anymore. They've taken all those off there, and it's a lot of work to make that right. And it needs additional holes in the wings for the additional fuel tanks they've put in the aeroplane. There's also an additional fuel tank in the back of the cockpit, all sorts of stuff. But there are one or two Spitfires out there that were silver, other than Gertie. Some of them were painted silver though, so I've got to find the right one. Now if I don't do a Spitfire in natural metal finish, I've got to find another model to do it with that's suitable for it. So I don't know if anybody's watching these videos and you want to see a 24 scale Spitfire done in natural metal finish, let me know. But I don't know, I'm on the fence about it yet. I'm not sure if I want to take it on again because it is a big job, and with this plastic being the way it is, I'm going to have to polish the plastic first to get it smooth. I'm not concerned about the detail, the rivet detail and stuff, because I know it's 24 scale, but it's still a bit much. It's still a bit deep on some of these, so it loses it quite nicely. Just foiling it, you still see it through there, no problem whatsoever. But it's a massive job to take on a kit of this scaled and foiling it. But it does look good when it's done. And what I'll do, I'll put some pictures up when I've stopped waffling on of the one I did before. It's not completed, and I can't show you some current pictures of it because I fell out with it and the engine broke off and it ended up in the bin. But it's kind of I don't know, it's something I need to kind of exercise the demons on really, because I spent an awful lot of time on that kit foiling that, and it's not, doesn't exist now. I kind of want to do another one, but I don't want to do another Gertie, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on the Spitfire. Should I foil it or should I not, or should I just pick another model? And if so, which model to do it on? I can show the techniques on scraps. I've got loads of tail planes and bits of scrap Spitfire I can demonstrate on. But yeah, so that's where I stand now. If you just hang on for the last few minutes, I'll put some pictures up of some still pictures of the Gertie I did do, and the pictures are taken out in the sun. Bear in mind, I can do it better now. As I say, the texture and the plastic spoils it for me. So if I do it again, it won't be like that. It'll be like a mirror next time if I want it to be. So there you go, natural metal finish. We'll keep an eye out. There'll be videos coming about this subject regardless of how I choose to do with the Spitfire or not. But catch you in a bit.